Hello there guys, welcome to another my live video. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now, I do believe will be back under intense pressure at Manchester United, reflecting on our 1-0 loss to Bournemouth today. Bournemouth did win the game by 1-0. It was a goal from Joshua King just before half time, and definitely I think the defence is accountable for that goal. I think Wan-Bissaka is mainly to blame, because I think when that cross got played in, Wan-Bissaka was around 2 or 3 yards off him. But to be fair, it was really a good finisher from Joshua King. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has described the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth as a step back. He also admitted that his team selection was wrong against Bournemouth today, because Solskjaer actually did revert back to the 4-2-3-1 formation, and I did say for the majority of this season that 4-2-3-1 formation hasn't been working, but we've been mainly anywhere. Well, for the majority of this season, we've been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation, and obviously for the vast majority of this season, a lot of Manchester United fans, including me, have been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics, because we have been tactically inept for the vast majority of this season. But reflecting on the 4 games before, reflect on the last 4 games prior to today's game. Manchester United did really well, and we was building momentum. There seemed to be confidence in the players, which was obviously very good. And I thought the comeback was definitely on. And obviously reflecting on the last 4 results prior to the game today, obviously saw the pressure eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but now he will be back under intense pressure. But I thought it was an abysmal performance today anyway by Manchester United. The performance was totally comparison to to what I saw against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup midweek, and the Norwich game last weekend. Because I've got to be honest, I think Norwich is the best game Manchester United have had this season. It's the best performance. And I think also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had admitted that. But today, I thought maybe there was shades of the game where Man United, did control the game. We obviously had the vast majority of the possession, but again, we didn't really create many chances, and that's an element of concern, because for the vast majority of this season, we have been struggling to create chances. We haven't been scoring enough goals, and that's definitely an element of concern. And I think in that aspect it replicates last season, because last season, we wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. There's obviously certain games this season where Man United have actually created chances, but we just haven't been ruthless enough in front of goal. But actually, Gary Neville did say prior to the game against Bournemouth today, he actually said that all it takes is another slip up from Man United, and Solskjaer will be back under pressure. So still, certain Manchester United fans, do believe that we need to give him more time at the football club. Obviously, now you'll get the vast majority of Man United fans, wanting him out at the football club. But I did mention, didn't I, in my recent videos, that he has. What I saw, in that 4-game period where we were doing actually well, I saw a variety of changes. Tactically, we looked very good. The personnel was good. Obviously, we'd won 3 away from home on the trot, which was also very good. So initially, our away form had improved. Certain players had stepped up to the plate, which was obviously very good. I've actually been impressed there with Marcus Rashford recently, because he has actually regained form, and I know for the majority of this season I've been criticising Marcus Rashford, for his bad performances, but recently he has stepped up to the plate. I thought in some aspects of his game, today he actually did really well. So I don't think he played bad today. Marcus Rashford, he was getting a couple of decent runs in behind, but today we had a lot of the possession, but we just wasn't clinical enough. We couldn't really get any of them runs in behind, because defensively, Bournemouth did really well, and actually Bournemouth did create better of the chances in the second half. But Rashford, I thought wasn't the best player, but I thought he did okay. But even when he was playing bad, Rashford, I still said then he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. But yeah, Rashford wasn't too bad, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. And obviously, since Martial regained full fitness, he's done really well. He's scored 2 goals, since he recovered from injury. Obviously, Martial again was playing in the number 9 role today, because I did say Martial does seem to be more effective in that central position. you know, he does seem to be more effective in that central position, even though he does predominantly, you know, play out wide on the left. But yeah, I've been very, very impressed with Martial since he's come back. You know, obviously I'm surprised anywhere that Rashford, Lindelof and Harry Maguire played today, because don't forget prior to the game, obviously, you know, Solskjaer confirmed there were injury doubts, because obviously Rashford, Maguire and Lindelof had all sustained knocks in the 2-1 victory against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup. We have still got injuries now. You know, we have still got quite a few players injured. You know, Solskjaer confirmed that, you know, Tuanzebe, Luke Shaw and, you know, Nemanja Matic, you know, they will be back after the international break, you know. But we have still got quite a few players out of injury. But obviously, we reflect on the injuries we've had this season anyway. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to make alterations in the squad. But credit Bournemouth, you know, they actually deserved the victory. You know, they're now 3 points ahead of us in the league. Obviously, regarding on the results today as well, obviously we've fallen further down in the league. I'm not too sure where we are now. Obviously, after the game, you know, we was currently sitting 8th. But, you know, credit Bournemouth, like I said, you know, done really, really well. They haven't enjoyed too much of a bad start to the season. You know, Bournemouth have got some good players, and, you know, actually Solskjaer had praised, you know, Bournemouth, you know, during his press conference prior to the game. He obviously, you know, says, you know, they've got really, really good players, they've got good attackers, you know, that are good at getting runs in behind, you know, they are very, very direct. But yeah, you know, it was a good performance from Bournemouth. You know, obviously it's the second time they've beaten us in the league. Obviously, you know, the last time they've beaten us before today, obviously, you know, was back in 2015. And I think that was the beaters in 2015. Obviously, I think that was Bournemouth's first season in the Premier League. And don't forget, Bournemouth themselves have got quite a few injuries. But credit Eddie Howe, you know, he's done a really good job with Bournemouth. Eddie Howe is actually, you know, the second longest serving English manager. I just wanted to take into account. Eddie Howe's actually spent the vast majority of his managerial career so far with Bournemouth. Don't forget, when he was younger, he had a period with, you know, Burnley. And he actually spent the vast majority of his playing career with Bournemouth, you know, did Eddie Howe. Actually, before the game as well, like I mentioned, Eddie Howe credited, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, he actually said that he believes Solskjaer's building a new Manchester United. He also said that, you know, he's got a rail stability and stuff like that. So he actually, you know, praised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But yeah, I am very, very disappointed with the result now, because it's our 4th defeat of the Premier League season. So far this season, we've won 3, we've drawn 4, and we've lost 4, and we've only registered 13 points from possible 33. You know, because now we are 11 games into the Premier League season. And obviously, we know this is nowhere near good enough, you know, to our standards. You know, if Man United do decide to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, maybe it will cost the club, you know, a substantial amount of money. You know, probably won't have to pay, we don't have to probably pay as much as, you know, we paid to get rid of Jose Mourinho and that. You know, probably we'll have to pay maybe an estimated guess around 10 or 11 million pounds to get rid of Solskjaer. Don't forget, you know, he's on a 3-year contract with the football club. But I said anyway, you know, due to our inconsistency, you know, you can't just put all the blame on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, like I've mentioned on my videos this season, on quite a lot of them, I think the blame stems from everybody, but from my perception, I think the vast majority of the blame stems from the board, because, you know, the board have been a liability, not only, you know, recently, they've been a liability for years, you know, reflecting on their poor recruitment and their poor selection of managers. And the board, for me, you know, do need to assure structural changes at the football club, and whether they can do this or not, I do not know. But I think we need to get rid of our current board, and I think Man United need to orchestrate on recommending a new board in. And the board didn't back Solskjaer enough during the course of the summer. A lot of the blame does stem from Ed Woodward, you know, because he's also been a liability for several years. A lot of the blames do stem from a lot of the players. You know, definitely some of the blame does stem from Solskjaer. And like I've said in my recent videos, there's some aspects of me that credit Solskjaer. You know, I've got some element of concerns about him. But even in that 4-game period when we did really, really well, my perceptions, you know, still didn't really change regarding Solskjaer. I still said he isn't the right man to elevate Manchester United forward, and I don't think, you know, he is the long-term future for the football club. Even though I'm being honest, you know, but I still love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. You know, I still love him a lot. Still love him a lot, but for me, just isn't the right man for Manchester United. You know, it's going, like I said on my last video, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how the likes of Gary Neville and, you know, Roy Keane and Rio Ferdinand, you know, respond to this, you know, 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth. You know, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, their, you know, overarching view on it. You know, I think, you know, now, from my own perception, that the coaching staff is not good enough for Man United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't good enough for Manchester United. And I also do believe that there's, you know, still players at Manchester United that are no longer, you know, good enough to represent the football club. And despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe, you know, there is more problematic players at the football club. So I think we need to orchestrate on getting rid of at least another 4 or 5 players next year. We need a massive rebuild is needed at the football club. You know, I think we need to get at least 5, 6, maybe even more than that. You know, if we have to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. And like I mentioned, reflecting on the size and the potential of this club, you know, we should be much more of a commanding position. But like I've mentioned to you on my recent videos, I did a show at the start of this season, and I also mentioned that I think towards the back end last season. You know, I said, you know, despite, you know, the 3 signs that I recommended in during the summer, I still knew this season Man United wouldn't win the league or wouldn't mount any kind of title challenge up. I knew that, you know, definitely. But I actually expected us to have a better season this season, you know, than what we enjoyed last season, because last season was bad because we finished 6th. Obviously, you know, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. But, you know, we are enjoying a worse season, you know, because we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for around 30 years. You know, the last time, you know, we had as bad a start to a season as this was back in, 1989 or 1990. But I think, you know, we need to see a lot of changes at the football club. And certain Manchester United fans, you know, still believe that us getting rid of Solskjaer now or just before Christmas wouldn't solve a lot of their problems at the football club. But yeah, so I think we're orchestrating on making at least 4 new signings next year. Signings next year. Excuse me, found that, sorry. But the most imperative thing is that we've got to, you know, get the right calibre players to Manchester United, you know, next year and that. And obviously it's going to be difficult for us to do that, you know, if we're not being competitive. You know, so that's another element of concern. But I did say in the next, 3 to 4 windows, definitely, you know, our recruitment has got to improve. You know, so you can still say Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because analysing the majority of this squad, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. As I do keep mentioning, the vast majority of this squad is Jose Mourinho's. Obviously, Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Now, obviously, Solskjaer is still inheriting the vast majority of them. But, you know, I think Solskjaer has been assured that he will be given money to spend next year. That's if he's still a Manchester United manager. But I think the club will orchestrate on spending another substantial amount next year. I think we'll spend from between maybe 250, you know, to 300 million pounds on another, 5 or 6 players. I do presume anywhere, but you can still see the deficiencies in the squad, and it was a shame, you know, that, you know, throughout the summer that, you know, we didn't, you know, address all the problematic areas. You know, we did address some of the problematic areas, which was obviously, you know, very, very good. You know, we got that experienced centre half in. You know, we also got that right back in. But, you know, that's good, but we didn't address all the problematic areas, because I said, you know, Manchester United definitely need a midfielder. You know, we need someone that can, you know, add depth in our midfield, and, you know, someone that, yeah, you know, we need the right calibre midfielder, you know, because, you know, we've got a lot of problems in that midfield, and we need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera, definitely. We need a striker as well, you know, we need an attacker, you know, someone that can assure us goals and someone who can be more effective in the box, because we look very, very exposed in that attacking line following dismissal of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. Obviously, you know, Martial's just recently recovered from injury, but at least he can add a bit more, he's added a bit more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch. But yeah, we've definitely, you know, got to get an attacker in. But yeah, a massive rebuild is needed in this football club. And I think, Solskjaer is keen on sticking to the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do throughout the course of the summer. So, yeah, he's still keen on sticking to the same policy. But, yeah, I don't think he'll last at Manchester United. Solskjaer, maybe he could last until, January, or could last until the end of the season. Then we may consider, moving him on. But don't forget, Solskjaer came out the other week and, he insisted, he's the right man for Manchester United, and he's Ed Woodward's also got the same perception as him, because Ed Woodward still insists 100% he's backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think the only reason that Manchester United at the moment are sticking with Solskjaer, the only reason at the moment they're sticking with him at this present time, is because obviously he's a club legend, and in that aspect Manchester United and the board and that are soft in their stance on him. You could arguably say if it was another manager now with the position we're in, they would have been sacked by the football club. But like I did take into account anywhere, we don't want to keep sacking managers because we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. 3 managers have already been sacked already since the Ferguson era, and Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. And I also believe that Man United have made a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, and this is why we are this is why we've probably been one of the reasons why we've been a toxic club for the last 6 or 7 years. Definitely one of the mistakes from the football club, was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. We should have never given him the job. I think we gave him the job far too early. Yes, we did give him the job far too early, and in a way, I do feel sorry for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I really, really do. But we give him the job too early. I think another mistake from the football club, obviously we're reflecting on some players that we've overpaid for in recent years as well. That's another mistake from Man United. Also, letting Ander Herrera go was also another mistake. I don't think we should let Ander Herrera go. So Man United have made quite a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. Like I mentioned, I credit Solskjaer, for the 3 signings that I recommended into the club, during the summer, so I credit him for that. He's also got a lot of trust with in his young upcoming players, which is also very, very good to see, because the vast majority of the young upcoming players have been given their chances this season. I do think, some of them, will become a fruition at the football club. Some of them will become a fruition at the football club. Obviously, all of them won't be. As I've mentioned to you on a regular basis, that I've got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players, and that I've got some element of concerns about Chong, because I think Chong's only played a couple of games this season, but I think Chong's totally comparison to likes of Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, and Alex Tuanzebe. So he's one of the young upcoming players I think we need to consider loaning out next year. James Garner, my perception on him, well, I don't really have a perception on him at the moment because I haven't seen him really play that much, for me to have a perception on him. I thought he did really, really well on his full debut in the game against Partizan Belgrade. But James Garner's only made 2 appearances for Man United in total for the first team, that is. But yeah, I can definitely assure that Brandon Williams will become a success. I actually will assure that, because Brandon Williams has been absolutely fantastic, and I thought he was our best player today in that game against Bournemouth. And he didn't even start the game. He came on the pitch, with 10 minutes there to go. He's only 19 as well. Solskjaer's praised him, recently, reflecting on his impressive performances. And a lot of Man United fans now are saying, basically, we should. He's a much better solution than Luke Shaw. Despite that, Luke Shaw is our first choice left back. But credit Brandon Williams, being very, very impressed with him. My element of concerns I've got about Solskjaer is that, as I do keep mentioning, that he hasn't got any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United. He hasn't. That's just my perception on it, because he hasn't got that managerial experience anywhere, not to the highest level. Because obviously before he came to Manchester United, he had. He'd won a couple of Norwegian titles during his tenure with Molde. obviously before I was at Mould, he had a really short tenure with Cardiff. He only managed around, 29 or 30 games for Cardiff, and, obviously got sacked because he ended up, getting Cardiff relegated, and, maybe still some certain Manchester United fans fear, if he is to remain in the job for this season, he could replicate at Man United what he did do with Cardiff. I think I disagree with that. Maybe some Man United fans may think it, but I don't think we'll get relegated because, like I mentioned, the club's too big and these are too much money and that into the football club. So I don't see that happening. But from my perception is, the expectations are too high for him at Manchester United, to be quite honest with you. I did say, didn't I, our expectations this season will be definitely, to finish in that top four, to obviously, give us a platform to create and then give us something to build on. But we're not going to get the top four this season. I've actually now fully disregarded the top four. But I said initially anyway, our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons, because obviously I said, we're not going to win the league for at least the next 3 to 4 years, because obviously at the moment, likes of City are strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us. I'm going to predict now where I think Man United are going to finish this season, and I think we'll probably, finish around maybe 7th, maybe 8th, maybe even lower, if things do continue to position, the way they are. But honestly, we did turn a corner before the game today, and obviously, Solskjaer gave his overarching view on the last 4 games prior to today. He said it was a really, really good point, we got against Liverpool. We're the only team, to take out off Liverpool this season in the Premier League. The Partizan Belgrade game in the Europa League wasn't a great game, but, we still got the win. That was, obviously the most important thing. Defensively we was quite poor, up front in the game against Partizan Belgrade. In the game against Norwich, it was absolutely fantastic. Solskjaer thought it was a fantastic performance. And, the game against Chelsea, there was a period of dominance in that game. But, Chelsea had periods of dominance in the game themselves, midweek and that. But it's good that, we did get the win. But it actually, come from 2 set pieces. So if we're going for them set pieces, yet again, wouldn't have scored. We've actually had quite a lot of penalties this season. We got 1 against Chelsea. We got 2 against Norwich, but missed them both. We got 1 in the Partizan Belgrade game. So yeah, we've had a hell of a lot of penalties this season. But like I did mention, some aspects of that game against Chelsea midweek actually, replicated, the game at Old Trafford on the opening day of this season, because actually in that 4-0 game on the opening day of this season, it was Chelsea that pressed high at the pitch. They played the expansive football, but still ended up, losing the game 4-0. But the good thing is, this is a positive. We've beaten Chelsea 3 times this year. We've won our last 2 visits now to Stamford Bridge. Solskjaer has overcome Frank Lampard twice. But obviously, a lot of people, would still, be honest about and say, their preference would be Lampard over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, basically. But yeah, and but we can't go on a good run and then get beat by Bournemouth, because obviously the game today was a game that a lot of people expected Manchester United to win. Maybe not easily, but they just thought they'd have won the game and that. But another bad performance, and all the 4 games we've lost this season, to teams that we shouldn't have lost to. We lost at home to Crystal Palace. That was the first time we lost to them in Premier League history. We lost. We lost to Newcastle just before the international break, 1-0. That was another really, really bad performance from Man United. We lost to West Ham 2-0. That was another terrible game. And we've obviously lost 1-0 to Bournemouth today. But we need to see a lot of changes at the football club without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt and that. And Solskjaer also recently was speaking about Fred, and he was also speaking, about the likes of Pereira and McTominay and that. He obviously said, that McTominay is totally a comparison to Fred and Pereira. Obviously, he's a different sort of player, that's what he means. But Solskjaer, did confirm that Fred will take Paul Pogba's position for a while, because obviously Solskjaer did confirm that, Pogba is expected out until, December. Solskjaer obviously confirmed the extent of Paul Pogba's injury. he confirmed the extent of Paul Pogba's injury, and he's out for at least another month. So Paul Pogba's injury, must be more severe than we first feared. Obviously, he has been a big miss in that midfield as Pogba, but I think definitely Paul Pogba will orchestrate on moving on, sometime next year. I think he'll leave next year, so he'll either leave in January or will leave next summer. I still believe his preference is to make a move to Real Madrid, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But Paul Pogba anyway has mainly enjoyed a difficult time at the football club, in comparison to his time, when he was at Juventus. But like I said to you, I've given you my perceptions on both Fred and McTominay, and my perceptions are actually, very, very compatible on both players. I don't know if that, they are the long-term solutions for Manchester United. But, to be fair to McTominay, he has done really, really well this season. So I do credit him, for his performances. The question is, can he keep the consistency up? But he has deserved to keep his players in the team without a shadow of a doubt. Fred, like I said, I will agree on the aspect, that Manchester United definitely, overpaid for Fred. We paid just under £50 million to him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk. And, I think he's done well in, he's showed periods of dominance in certain games this season where he's actually, played quite well. But he still hasn't performed to the standards as we should expect of him, especially, with the money we paid for him. He hasn't replicated at Man United, what he did do at Shakhtar Donetsk. Because I've got to be honest, he was an absolutely exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk, was, Fred. But yeah, I still would, give him more time at the football club. He has only been here since last summer. Andres Pereira, I thought he developed well in the last couple of games, prior to today. I think he's played 8 consecutive Premier League games this season in that playmaker's role. But I thought Andres Pereira, was really, really poor today in the game. That's probably one of the reasons. That's probably why it explains why he got taken off, Andres Pereira. So he was actually, very, very poor. But despite, that the performance wasn't good today, I still thought there were some okay individual performances. I thought, Rashford did quite well. Daniel James, made some good runs. I thought he did really, really well. And anyway, Daniel James has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. I still say he's a prospect and he still needs time to develop, but he has done really, really well. Bissaka, Wan-Bissaka, a lot of people believe, he has been one of our most consistent signings, and I think Harry Maguire has done really, really well. Again, I will agree on the aspect, that Manchester United did overpay for Harry Maguire. But, for the vast majority of this season, Lindelof and him, have blended in our backline fantastically well. Well, yeah, but like I said, Wan-Bissaka, was at fault, for Joshua King's goal just before half-time. So I will criticise, Wan-Bissaka for that. But for me today, yes, Solskjaer, and this is another thing I credit him for, he has got a lot of honesty about him, he's obviously, aware of what's been going on for the vast majority of this season. But for me today, he should have gone with 3 at the back. Well, that's what, he should have started with, because, we seem to look better, when we do play with 3 at the back, and Solskjaer gave us overarching view on that, and he actually says, the formation was working well, because it enables us, obviously, to have 2 attackers up top, but the 4-2-3-1 formation isn't working. Maybe it worked in the game against Norwich, but prior to that, it hasn't, really, really worked. So yeah, again, we was tactically inept today. But Solskjaer's obviously been at Man United now, around just under 12 months. He's been here just under a year, basically. And obviously he's enjoyed difficult, 8 months or so with a football club prior to the last 4 games, prior to today. He's mainly enjoyed a difficult time. It's totally comparison to what I saw, whilst he was the interim manager, because Solskjaer did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. The results were good. The performances were good. He exceeded expectations, and he got the best out of these group of players. He won his first 8 games. He won 14 then out of 19 in total, and that was obviously good enough, to give him the job, which was obviously very, very good. But, you know, obviously my perceptions were different then, you know, regarding Solskjaer in that, you know, when he was the interim manager, because I thought at that point he was the right man for Manchester United. But obviously, my perceptions have changed. Obviously, you know, within this 8-month period of him being permanently, that he's now, you know, not good enough for Manchester United. But you know, I do hate to say that, you know, we know Solskjaer's obviously got that proven pedigree as a player, you know, because he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years, and he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. But, you know, he just, you know, isn't, you know, good enough to be a manager, you know, let's be honest about it. You know, we can't be in denial. You know, where we can't be in denial, obviously. And obviously, a lot of Man United fans also believe that, you know, we need to get a new director of footballing, you know, because we was in for a new director of football during the course of the summer. You know, there was quite a few former Manchester United players linked with that director's role. Obviously, you know, there was talked about Edwin van der Sar a couple of weeks back, and I did say that's one of the structural changes that we do need at the football club, because I think Ed Woodward, you know, is definitely, you know, not reliable to oversee our transfer business. But yeah, so maybe we should have got that new director of footballing, so maybe that's another mistake, you know, Manchester United made, you know. Obviously, you know, there's some certain Man United fans now, well, maybe some that believe that we maybe should have kept Jose Mourinho. Well, you know, will that now come to haunt us, you know? Should we really got rid of Jose Mourinho? My perception on it, yeah. You know, we did right, you know, getting rid of Jose Mourinho, obviously. I think, you know, we actually recommended Jose Mourinho in too late. You know, I think, you know, we should have arguably got him in after Ferguson's retirement. And I think Ferguson made one mistake, and it was the only mistake he made, was obviously recommended David Moyes in after his retirement. You know, I think Ferguson, what he should have done is he should have recommended Jose Mourinho in, you know, after his current retirement. Then maybe it would have been a different, you know, scenario with Manchester United. So you could say that's another mistake. But, you know, I've already explained, there's obviously been a variety of reasons why it didn't work out, you know, under Jose Mourinho, because he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the top players. Obviously, the board weren't back in the signings that he wanted to recommend into the football club last summer. But, you know, it didn't work out under him, despite the fact he's regarded as one of the best managers in the world, you know, reflecting on his success, and he's got, you know, a fantastic pedigree, you know, obviously won stuff and that, you know, everywhere he's been. But Jose Mourinho won the Europa League and League Cup with Manchester United, and obviously he spent around, was it £400 million, or just under £400 million on 11 players. You know, obviously it didn't work out under Van Gaal either, because he didn't have the right sort of philosophy. You know, Van Gaal lasted just a year and a half, was it? Despite the fact, you know, he won the FA Cup with Manchester United. And obviously, you know, when Moyes, obviously with David Moyes, we knew that it wasn't going to work out under him either. But, you know, not all the manager, you know, all the blame does stem from the managers. So I do also, you know, I want to take that into account. There is a lot of players in our agenda, you know, who we could go in for next year, like Aduki, you know, putting into the equation. I think we'll probably look to sign a couple of players in January, but we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. Solskjaer did say he wants to bring 2 forwards to the football club in January. I think it's very, very probable that Man United will sign Mario Mandzukic. So he's probably going to be our 4th signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and he's going to be our 1st signing in January. Well, should I say that's if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still at the football club. I haven't really read much up recently about Mario Mandzukic, but you know, according to reports of the other week, it said he slashed his wage demands in half. You know, from 300 grand a week to 150 grand a week, in order for him, you know, to make the move to Man United. He is a cheap solution, you know, and I said, you know, maybe we should orchestrate on being sensible with our recruitment, because, you know, always spending big on players and getting them Galactico players doesn't guarantee you success, and that's been proven with Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years. But, you know, Mario Mandzukic served his 2 requirements to Juventus anywhere, because obviously since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri, you know, he hasn't, you know, played a single minute under Maurizio Sarri's guidance. You know, he scored 44 goals in 162 games for Juventus in all competitions, you know, and he's now into his fifth season as a Juventus player. Man United did inquire about getting him towards the back end of the summer transfer window, but, you know, obviously, no, we didn't get him. The only element of concern I've got about us recommending him in is that obviously he's 33 years of age, so he's only got a couple of years left in his footballing career, you could arguably say. You know, he's a good adequate replacement for Lukaku. You know, he's obviously not a long-term replacement regarding his age, but it's very, very probable we should get him in January. Man United obviously won't offer him a long-term contract, obviously reflecting on his age. I think it did say, you know, was it a month or so ago, that, you know, we're prepared to hand him around an 18-month contract. But once the transfer of Mario Mandzukic is completed, Solskjaer obviously, you know, is keen on recommending another forward in, as he confirmed. Obviously, you know, Moussa Dembele is on our agenda. I'd like Moussa Dembele again. I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. You know, I think he would be able to show his goals. And I think if he came to Man United, he can replicate, you know, what he's done, you know, for Lyon so far, what he did at Celtic, and, you know, what he did during his time with Fulham. And also the beneficial thing is that, you know, he has, you know, played in the Premier League, because he actually began his senior career with Fulham. Moussa Dembele, he's only 23 years of age. He's an out-and-out number 9. Lyon paid around £20 million for him from Celtic last summer, and he's under contract with Lyon until 2023. So still got quite a few years left on his contract. And if we are to go in for him next year, you know, he will, I do believe anyway, he will cost the club a substantial amount of money. You know, we'll probably have to pay maybe in the excess of around, 60 or 70 million pounds. So he's another player on our agenda. Don't forget, there was a lot of talks earlier, a lot of speculation earlier on this week about Erling Haaland. You know, he's another player on Manchester United's agenda. He's actually a striker, by the way. He currently at this present time plays for Red Bull Salzburg, who are currently, you know, not currently Austrian. I think this could be beneficial as well, recommending him in, you know, even though I don't really know much about the player. Don't forget, you know, he has played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance. You know, Germany's a short period he had with Mould. He can score goals, can this player, because he has proven that so far with Red Bull Salzburg. He has scored quite a few times in the Champions League. He's only 19 years of age. But reportedly, it says this was actually stemming from the Italian press early on this week, and it actually says from Napoli's perspective, they expect Manchester United to sign him in January, because reportedly Napoli have pulled out of the race. So yeah, which could be probable that Man United also, you know, sign him in January. So we could sign Haaland and Mario Mandzukic in January. But at least, you know, it would add, you know, he would have had a bit more depth in the squad, which is obviously a positive, because obviously the depth in the squad anywhere at the moment, you know, isn't good enough. But I do believe some of the players we was in for during the summer anywhere, probably more than likely, you know, will reignite our interest in the majority of them next year. But, you know, like I mentioned, you know, before, you know, we actually recommended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in, you know, there was, you know, quite a few managers on our agenda, you know, obviously at the time before, after Jose Mourinho's sacking, you know, obviously Mauricio Pochettino was our top priority. You know, we also had, you know, Zinedine Zidane on our agenda at the time. I think I'm not too sure, was it at the time he was managerless, you know, I can't remember, but went in for them too. And there was a few other managers, you know, on our agenda and that, but Pochettino was the likely one. But our preference was just Solskjaer over them and that, because obviously Solskjaer knows the traditions of the club. Obviously Solskjaer, you know, was a cheaper solution, so that was for Man United, you know, that's how Man United saw it basically. But yeah, it was definitely a mistake, you know, giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. There's actually, you know, been a variety of managers on our agenda, you know, anyway now, who could replace Solskjaer at the football club. I think, you know, the likely one, our next manager is likely to be Max Allegri, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, is to be sacked, because there was a hell of a lot of, you know, speculation about Max Allegri, you know, the other week. You know, I think he did actually say, you know, he was interested in taking the reins at Manchester United. I think maybe some Man United fans will have different perceptions on Max Allegri. You know, some will think he's the right candidate. Some, you know, maybe thinks, you know, he wouldn't, you know, be the right man for Man United. You know, people have different perceptions on it. I don't really know much about him myself. I know some stuff about him. I know obviously he's been managerless, you know, since the end of last season, because obviously he stepped down as Juventus manager. Obviously he had a 5-year tenure with Juventus. He has been managing now for, I think, just more of 16 years, because he began his managerial career in 2003. But obviously he emulated himself up, because obviously, you know, he started managing small, various Italian clubs, and then obviously, you know, went to bigger Italian clubs, obviously. But so far, has actually spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy. I think it did say also Arsenal would interest in him, because don't forget, Umar is also under pressure at Arsenal. Obviously, you've got the vast majority of Arsenal fans demanding him out of their club. You know, obviously you've got Pochettino as well, that's under pressure here with Tottenham, because Tottenham have also enjoyed a bad start to the season. Yeah, but Max Allegri, I think it did say the other week, he's been learning English for quite some time in preparation for his potential moves. Obviously needs to know a bit more English, obviously, if he's going to, you know, come and manage in the Premier League. He did actually say that he was in discussions with Manchester United. I think this was during the international break, or was it before? You know, that was in discussions with the club about, you know, his salary, you know, he would earn if he was to come to Manchester United, if he was, you know, to come in. Yeah, but I still believe Solskjaer will stay here for this present time, even though we did lose the game today against Bournemouth. Yeah. But, you know, we'll never be the team, you know, that we was under Alex Ferguson anywhere, and that's obviously, you know, something that, you know, Manchester United have got to accept. You know, we're never going to achieve what we, you know, what we achieved under Ferguson. Solskjaer definitely can't invoke Ferguson's legacy, you know, to save him at the football club. But, you know, you can also take into account that, you know, Alex Ferguson, you know, didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United, you know, when we recommended him in from Aberdeen back in 1984. But Ferguson, you know, like I mentioned, developed a lot of young players. He bossed the transfer markets, he controlled the transfer policies, he controlled the contracts. Obviously won 38 trophies with Manchester United. So the vast majority of the silverware we have won, obviously, you know, has come under you know, obviously, you know, came under Alex Ferguson. And I did say now I'm hopeful that this team, this day and age, you know, can replicate what the team did under Alex Ferguson. But obviously, you know, we know that's not going to happen, because this team is totally comparison to the team under Alex Ferguson. There's actually still a couple of players here from the Alex Ferguson era. You know, De Gea is still here, Jones is still here, you know, Ashley Young is still here. But we've got to accept now, this is not the Ferguson era, this is a total different era. You know, obviously, you know, we haven't been in the Ferguson era now for almost 7 years, because these are different groups and different players that Manchester United are building, you know. And that's something, you know, where we've got to accept in that. And I know that Solskjaer got transformed into a winner by Alex Ferguson and that, you know. But he's just not good enough, you know, to manage Manchester United. And, you know, that's all there really is, you know, to it and that. You know, I've got some positive, you know, some positives in that. You know, these some positives. You know, there's always some positives, but the majority of it is negative now. But the positives that, you know, we are into the 5th round of the Carabao Cup. You know, we have done quite well in the Europa League. You know, we've won 2 games out of 3 in the Europa League. You know, registered 7 points from a possible 9. We should definitely progress, you know, to the knockout stages in the Europa League, and that we should definitely, you know, do that. But yeah, you know, the Premier League is the most imperative, very, very imperative, and you know, we're just not doing good enough. You know, we've only managed to win, what is it, around 3 games this season. Manchester United have won in the league, and you know, it's just basically, you know, we're not good enough. You know, it just basically, you know, isn't good enough. I've already said to you, the players I think, you know, who should leave Manchester United, have already, you know, gone through it here. Matic is one of the problematic players that needs to be moved on next year. I think, you know, Young and Jones, they need to be moved on next year. You could argue say maybe Marcus Rojo does need to be moved on next year. Yeah, yeah, still quite a few more players do need to leave Manchester United, so I also, will take that into account. So anyway, guys, you would have watched my match reaction, wouldn't you, earlier on? Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and I will be back with more live videos tomorrow, as usual. Thanks for watching, guys.